Okay, so this is me. Well, I mean, this isn't really me, but this was me as a kid, looking at a map, wanting to go anywhere in the world that I could afford to go. I am Jennifer Campbell. I'm from Global Programs, and I help international students and study abroad students make their dreams reality. So here's a little stat. A lot of people like to study abroad here at Penn State. In fact, over 4 years, over 11,000 students from our student population will actually go abroad all over the world. Here's another fact. We have about 7,271 international students here. But in fact, I'm going to challenge you to a new concept. International students are study abroad students who chose the United States and Penn State. That's it, okay? So nationally, how do we rank up? Well, we send about over 300,000 Americans all over the world to study abroad every year. And we accept about 290,000 study abroad students from all over the world here in the United States. So what's the difference? It's all study abroad, right? So actually it's very common. Most study abroad students study STEM, oddly enough. So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But there's some differences. The study abroad students that come here, they usually come here for a degree. And the study abroad students that are from Penn State going around, they tend to go anywhere from a few weeks abroad to a few months abroad, okay? And sometimes even a year. But it's usually a little bit shorter term, but nonetheless, study abroad. So when I was asked to step in today to give the study abroad student or the international student voice, I didn't feel capable of representing that voice myself. So what we did was we identified some students who were courageous enough to talk about their experience studying abroad here at Penn State, and I'm going to introduce them to you now, and it is my honor to offer their narrative. So we'll start out first with Marcela. My name is Marcela Mansofesi, and I am a graduate student from Mexico, and this is my Penn State story. When I graduated with my undergraduate degree back in 2014, I knew that if I was to achieve great goals, I needed a place that would continuously challenge me. Because I was not sure of the path that I wanted to take at the time, I decided to come to the United States as an au pair. But after I was here for a while, my journey became smoother and with clearer purpose, and the moment I realized that I wanted to pursue a graduate school, I started applying everywhere. I actually got accepted everywhere, and I chose Penn State. Why Penn State? Because they were willing to support me with a graduate assistantship. And it wasn't even just the financial support. I would actually call it holistic support. Not only did they help me with the tuition, but they also helped me both emotionally and morally to take that leap. Plus, you can't beat it. The prestige and alumni connections that come here with a Penn State reputation are superb, and the research institution is amazing. So it solidified my decision to accept Penn State and be a graduate student here from Mexico. But that would only be part of the story. The other part is being here as a Mexican student, living in the US. I have to admit, it's been a challenge to cope with the fact that part of my identity has been and continues to be a target of social and political discussion. For me, it's mind-blowing to realize the huge impact that stereotypes and have on people's behaviors and beliefs. I can still remember the feelings I had right after the presidential elections, where something as natural as me speaking in my own language became a real fear. Hearing stories about some people treating other people with physical assault, with bad words. They perceived Latinos to simply be bad people because they spoke Spanish or because of their physical appearance. It made me more cautious in the way I presented myself to others. In any case, I cannot deny that Penn State was a challenge, and it was the one that I was looking for. And I have had countless positive experiences thanks to the friends and faculty and staff that I have found at this university. It has been really fulfilling to notice how Penn Staters advocate for other Penn Staters, and that has been a positive experience. I would not have been able to continue my education without the support of others here at Penn State. And it is these kind of opportunities and the people with whom I work that demonstrate the true essence of Penn State, that this is the university that I am proud to be a part of. Welcome to the stage, Marcela. Hello, my name is Kosar Abo Hansi. I'm messing that up, I apologize, Kosar. And here is my Penn State story. I am a senior double majoring in psychology and labor employment relations. I am originally from Iran, but I've spent the majority of my life away from home in Serbia and Saudi Arabia. I had never heard of Penn State prior to my senior year in high school, when a few of my friends enrolled at University Park. I remember my first impression of the school being generically stereotypical. Every video or brochure, I feel like I had seen a parallel from typical American high schools on TV or in the news. Learning environments were definitely duplicated in the popular media in my country. Everyone more or less looked, dare I say, identical. I did some research on State College as well, which did not help me paint any more of a diverse angle, but still I was determined to take the leap. My family, on the other hand, not so much. They were not supportive. They were afraid. They saw people from my country not being let into airports. They saw people from my country seen as criminals. They were very afraid that I would not be able to survive on my own, especially with the negative media on the television over the past few years. After months of battling my family, I was finally able to make my way to Penn State. The first month was definitely blurry. I actually don't remember a lot. It was a lot of download, but I started actually doubting my own self-reliance that had gotten me this far. And I had a roommate who was right outside of PA. I didn't know what that meant, but I soon figured out sometimes that meant they didn't have a lot of experience. In fact, she asked me whether I lived in a hut back home and did I shower with that thing on my head. It was kind of tough, and I think my true Penn State experience really started towards the middle of my second year. That first year is a blur. But you know what I did? I joined clubs, I got my first job, and I occupied myself with different activities so that I didn't have time to think about those, other things. As I approach my last few months at Penn State, I look back at where I was at the beginning and how far I've come. I had doubts about my decision to attend here. Having found my voice, though, I've been on student court, and I've even had my face painted on the wall here in the hub. Penn State has become my home. And not only has it taught me so much about myself, it has opened my eyes to different perspectives and views. Most importantly, I have learned that no matter how worldly or open-minded you think you are, the moment you make an unjust judgment about an individual based on minor differences, be it tangible or intangible, you are holding yourself at the same level of oblivious, closed-mindedness as an individual. At the end of the day, I love Penn State, and I love my choice now. It was not easy, but I would not change a thing. Welcome, Kosar. My name is Caleb, and I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm an energy engineer major and a Penn State Bostiber scholar. And here is my Penn State story. What I realize is that I have a different story, or actually, we all have different stories on how we made it to Penn State. Some here because it was their top choice for an institution. For others, it's a family tradition. But for me, I pounced on the opportunity without thinking twice when it presented itself to me. My journey to Penn State wasn't a smooth one, but one filled with twists and turns which ultimately led me to this institution. Going back to my high school, which ultimately was in Botswana, I was wanting to go to England. And Botswana had a scholarship for the top 10 students in the country of Botswana would receive a full ride to an English university. You've heard of them, Oxford, Cambridge, and that was my dream. To achieve that dream of studying in England, I had to graduate exceedingly high with high grades so that I could be sponsored by my government. Botswana has an opportunity for high achievers in which they sponsor only the best 10 students in the country to study in England. And guess what? I made it. I was in the top 10. I managed to be among the top 10 students of an entire country. But I was never told that this opportunity was only for Botswana citizens, and that meant I did not qualify. So after learning about this, my dream to study in England was shattered, and I had to search for other opportunities. And I searched, and I searched, and I failed, and my parents honestly just could not afford for me to go to college. I was met with setback after setback until one day a Peace Corps volunteer became more than a friend and now is my family in the United States. David helped me apply to the Bosper Foundation, and now I am here as a Penn Stater. In the midst of all this good I have faced, I know there are challenges with culture and the approach here towards countries in the African continent, but I am grateful for all I have and continue to play a huge role in my experience here at Penn State as best I can. I hope after my 4 years, I'll be able to return home and look into my mother's eyes and say, "Mommy, I made it." Welcome to the stage, Caleb. Our last student is Maggie Zhang, and this is her Penn State story. I am from Beijing, China, currently a sophomore majoring in advertising at Penn State. I came to Penn State in my spring semester, and I remember myself being so excited as I boarded the plane. My friends and family members were worried for me, right? Could I adapt to an American life? And since I was kind of feeling left behind, I was nervous, but I didn't want to let them down. All I wanted was to get away from home, try something new, speak English, and spring out of my, let's you say, potential. Well, I barely had any difficulty until I got here. Then, culture shock. I was motivated and curious, so I moved through it, but everything at Penn State, yes, amazing, but different. Beautiful campus, awesome facilities, polite people, engaging students, interesting lectures, various resources. Yes, everything is amazing here until Chinese Spring Festival. It's kind of like your version of a Christmas and Thanksgiving all in one. And it was my first Spring Festival that I couldn't celebrate it with my family at home. So I didn't celebrate it with anyone. And this was the first time I realized that I really didn't have any friends here. The homesickness was overwhelming, and all these emotions were killing me. As time went on, I began to feel bored. It was so hard to catch up with the others when most people had already had their circle of friends that I felt like I wasn't fully accepted by people, no matter how hard I tried to fit in. I was balancing between who I used to be and who I want to be. And the university is so huge that my heart got lost. Everything started to get better, though, as I tried to step out of my comfort zone and get involved. I applied to leadership positions in different orgs and got accepted. Someone once told me, "You can make a big university small, but you can't make a small university big." And I am so proud of our diversity here at Penn State, our sense of belonging to Penn State, and it will now and will always be my second home. Please welcome to the stage Maggie Zhang from Beijing, China. So at the beginning, I talked about these students are on their study abroad, and they just happen to choose the United States, and they just happen to choose Penn State. And I just want you to think about what current events look like when you're preparing for your study abroad. When you're getting ready to go to Italy, what does it look like to have people not accepted into the Rome airport if they're from your country? What does it look like to get to that country and have the prime minister say something bad about your country? What does it look like when your family sees tiki torches walking down the streets in the country you're about to go visit? Are mom and dad excited to send you? Are they nervous? Are you taking a chance? Are we all like that? No. But these 4 students and the other 7,172, I think, took that courage and made their home Penn State. Thank you guys so much for having us.